Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're continuing with the playlist for IGCSE Edexcel Maths exam questions. In this playlist, all videos are divided topic-wise. So in each video, you'll come across a different topic where I've explained the topic using exam questions for higher. These exam questions are from 2018 onwards. We'll be discussing different levels of difficulty in each video, starting from the easy, then medium, and then to the hardest questions. In this video, we're talking about straight lines. So we'll be discussing how to sketch a straight line, how to create an equation of a straight line from a coordinate and slope, then how to create an equation for a straight line from a graph, like in this case. Then we'll be talking about finding the midpoint of 2 points, distance, parallel lines, perpendicular lines. All of the basics for straight lines, basically, is going to be discussed in this video. So without further delay, let's start with the questions. Line L is drawn on the grid. Find an equation for L. So they've drawn the line for L. So to find an equation, we use the slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus c. So in the slope-intercept form, we need the intercept and the slope. M is your slope and c is your y-intercept. X and y are the coordinates for any point that lie on the line. So to find the slope, either you can pick 2 points from the line and put them in the formula. Formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Or you can just use rise over run, which is basically the same as the formula, but it's just a different way of writing it. So what we can do is we can pick 2 points, preferably whole numbers. So we pick this point and we pick this point. So rise is basically your change in y and run is your change in x. So if we compare these 2 points for a rise, we're going from 3 to -1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units. And since we're going down, that means it's going to be negative. Now, at -2, it's y equals to 3. So from -2, we're going to x equals to 0. So there's a difference of 2 units. And the run is going to be positive because we're going towards the right-hand side. The values are increasing. For y, the values were decreasing because we were going from 3 to -1. That's why it's -4. But since for x, we're going from -2 to 0, that means the values are increasing. Hence, 2 is positive. So -4 divided by 2 is -2. This is for rise over run. If you want to use the formula, what you can do is you can say that m equals to, this point was -2 and 3. This point is 0, -1. So -1 minus 3 over 0 minus -2. That's also -4 over +2, which equals to -2. As you can see, the final result is still the same. What's different is the way you're saying it. Either you use the formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or you say rise over run. Both mean the same thing, but some people are more comfortable with the rise over run, while others are more comfortable with using the formula. So now that we have the gradient, next step is to identify the y-intercept. Y-intercept is the point that passes through the y-axis. And on the y-axis, x will always be 0. Similarly, x-intercept is the point that passes through the x-axis, and on the x-axis, y will be 0. So over here, as you can see, -1 is the point where the line passes through the y-axis, and at this point, x is 0. So we just substitute m with -2 and x with -1. So this is your equation, y equals to -2x minus 1. This is how you find the equation of a line using a graph. Then another type of question you can get is that you can get an equation like we have over here, and they're asking us to find the gradient of the straight line. So to find the gradient of a straight line, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the equation is in the slope-intercept form. Over here, this is not in the slope-intercept form. because in the slope-intercept form, y is the subject of the equation. So to convert this into slope-intercept form, first we're going to begin with taking 5x to the other side. So 2y equals to negative 5x plus 7. Then we're going to divide negative 5x and 7 by 2. Now, if we compare this with the equation of the question, we have y as the subject. And it is in the slope-intercept form because the slope is with x and y-intercept is alone on its own, which is 7/2. So now, slope-intercept form, as you know, is y equals to mx plus c. And m, which is your slope, is the variable that's being multiplied to x. So in any equation, once you have converted into slope-intercept form, the number that's being multiplied to x, that is your slope, which in our case is negative 5/2. So slope is going to be negative 5/2, or you could even say negative 2.5. Either way, it's going to be correct. Then you can also get a question where they're asking us to write down an equation of a straight line with gradient negative 3, which passes to the point with coordinate 0, 5. Now they've given you the gradient, they've given you the y-intercept, they just want you to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form was y equals to mx plus c. M, which is the gradient, is negative 3, and c, which is the y-intercept, is 5. Why is it 5? It's 5 because x is 0. So if x is 0 and y has a value greater or less than 0, it is the y-intercept. So y equals to negative 3x plus 5, and that's your final answer. The next type of thing they can test you on is that they can give you a grid and they can ask you to draw the graph of 5x plus 2y equals to 10, which is a linear equation, a straight line, for values of x from negative 2 to 4. So this is something that you would have learned in year 7 as well, where they give you a table of values and they ask you to fill the table with the missing values using the given equation and the values, and then create a line for it on the grid. Over here, they haven't given you the table of values, but they have identified the values of x, that the range of values is from negative 2 to 4. They have identified the equation as well, and they want you to create a graph for it. So you can use the same method as you learned. You can create your table. We have x and y. X is from negative 2 to 4. So negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you substitute these x values into the equation to find the corresponding y values. So 5 times negative 2 plus 2y equals to 10. That's going to be negative 10 plus 2y equals to 10. 2y equals to 20 and y equals to 10. So when x is negative 2, y is 10. Now we're going to repeat the same steps for all of these x values. So now when x is negative 1, it's negative 5 plus 2y equals to 10, 2y equals to 15, and y is 7.5. Now when x is 0, y is going to be 5. When x is 1, y is going to be 2.5. When x is 2, y is going to be 0. When x is 3, y is going to be negative 2.5. And when x is 4, y is going to be negative 5. So now that we have the coordinates, we just plot the coordinates on the grid. So negative 2 and 10, that's over here. Negative 1 and 7.5 over here. 0, 5, 1 and 2.5, 2, 0, 3 and negative 2.5, and 4 and negative 5. Plot the points, connect the dots, and that's your equation of the straight line. So very simple and basic. For your ease, just create the table, plug in the value in the equation each time to get the other value, and then plot those points, connect them with a straight line, and you're done with the question. Next thing they can talk about is parallel lines. The question says a straight line L is parallel to the line with equation y equals to 2 minus 5x. The line L passes the point 0, 6. Find an equation of the line L. So when they talk about parallel lines, you need to be aware of the fact that if two lines are parallel, let's say these two lines are parallel. Two lines are parallel if they do not intersect. So these two lines will never meet. So this is line 1, this is line 2. If two lines are parallel, the gradient of line 1 will always equal to the gradient of line 2. And this is the exact reason why they will never intersect. So looking at the equation of straight line L, which is y equals to 2 minus 5x, let's rewrite this as y equals to negative 5x plus 2. The reason behind rewriting is this, that slope-intercept form is y equals to mx plus c. A lot of kids get confused if they write the y-intercept first and then the x. And they start thinking that, okay, 2 is going to be the gradient because they always write the gradient first. That's incorrect. You have to make sure that the number that's being multiplied to x, that is the gradient, not the number that's written first. So that's why I rewrote the equation as y equals to negative 5x plus 2 because you can now identify that m is negative 5. So if m1 is negative 5, m2 would also be negative 5. Now, they have told us that this line passes through the point 0, 6, which is your y-intercept. As I've told you before, if the x value is 0 and the y value is greater than or less than 0, it is the y-intercept. So writing y equals to mx plus c for the other line, m is negative 5 and c is positive 6. So this is your equation of the line L. So for these type of questions, you need to be aware of how to identify parallel line and how can we use that information to solve the question. So for parallel lines, the slope will always be the same for both the lines. Next thing they can ask us is about the midpoint. So it says point A has coordinates negative 3 and 11. Point B has coordinates 47 and B. The midpoint of AB has coordinates A, negative 19. We have to find the value of A and B. So midpoint means that the point is right in the middle of the 2 points. So what we can do is we can use the formula, which is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. x1 and y1 is one coordinate, so we can say A is x1 and y1. And then x2 and y2 is the other coordinate, which we can say is B in this case. You cannot mix up and say it's x1 and y2 or x2 and y1. That's incorrect. If x is x1, y will be y1. If x is x2, y will be y2. So you have to be very careful about this. So we add the x values. So that's negative 3 plus 47 over 2. And then we add the y values, 11 plus b over 2. Now the midpoint has been identified as A, negative 90. So what you can do now is you can put A equal to negative 3 plus 47 over 2. And now we can solve for A. And then we can put negative 19 equal to 11 plus b over 2. And through this fraction, we can solve for b. So A is going to be 22 because negative 3 plus 47 is 44 and 44 divided by 2 is 22. And for b, we do negative 19 times 2, which is negative 38. equals to 11 plus b. So b is going to be negative 38 minus 11, which gives us negative 49. So b is negative 49 and a is 22. That is your value for a and b. Now the next type of question you can get is for perpendicular lines. It says that the straight line L1 has the equation y equals to 6 minus 2x. The straight line L2 is perpendicular to L1 and passes through the point 47. We have to find the coordinates of the point where the line L2 crosses the x-axis. So a lot of things are happening in this question, but if we do it step by step, it's going to be quite easy for you to solve. First thing we need to identify is that L2 and L1 are perpendicular. So what do they mean by perpendicular? When they say two lines are perpendicular, that means they're making a 90-degree angle at the intersection. This is L1, this is L2. So if two lines are perpendicular, how do we use this information to solve the question? What happens is that the product of the gradients equals to -1. That is the condition that we use when we're solving questions for perpendicular lines. If you recall, for parallel lines, we said that the gradient is the same for both the lines if they're parallel. But if two lines are perpendicular, the product of the gradients will always equal to -1. So they have given us the equation for line L1, which is y equals to 6 minus 2x. First step is to identify the gradient of this line. Like I told you before, gradient is the number that's being multiplied to x. And over here, -2 is being multiplied to x. Always remember to write the sign with the number. If you miss out the negative sign, that means your answer will be incorrect. The slope for this equation is not +2, it's -2. So m1 is -2. Now we know that m1 is -2, and we know that if two lines are perpendicular, m1 times m2 is going to equal to -1. So we can use this condition to find the value of m2. So -2 times m2 equals to -1. m2 equals to -1 over -2, which equals to +1 over 2. That is the gradient of line 2. Then the question says that L2 is passing through the point 47. So they've given us the point, we have a slope. We can use point slope form to solve this question and find the equation of the line L2. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. If you don't know the point slope form, you can still use slope intercept form, which was y equals to mx plus c. You can put the point and slope in this equation, find the value of c, and then put it back into the equation so that you have an equation for y in terms of x. Both ways you'll get the same answer. So using point slope form, y minus 7 equals to 1 over 2 times x minus 4. Cross multiply. 2y minus 14 equals to x minus 4. 2y equals to x minus 4 plus 14. That's x plus 10. They want us to find the coordinates of the point where L2 crosses the x-axis, which means where y is 0. So that's going to be 2 times 0 equals to x plus 10. That's -10. So the coordinates are going to be -10 and 0. Y is 0 and x is -10. So that's how you solve it. So you need to be very familiar with the properties of parallel lines, perpendicular lines, how the gradients are changing. Parallel lines have the same gradient. For perpendicular lines, when you multiply the gradients, it equals to -1, and how you can use this information to solve the question. Then if you look at this question, it says the straight line L1 has the equation x plus 2y equals to 4. The straight line L2 passes through the points -1, -7, and 7, 9. Michael says that the lines L1 and L2 are perpendicular. Is Michael correct? You must show clearly how you get your answer. So now we have to prove whether the lines are perpendicular or not. So if you look at L1, they've given us the equation, which is x plus 2y equals to 4. So let's convert this into slope-intercept form first to identify the slope. 2y equals to negative x plus 4. Y equals to negative x over 2 plus 4 over 2, which simplifies to y equals to negative x over 2 plus 2. Now, slope is the number that's being multiplied to x, which in this case is negative 1 over 2. So m1, which is the slope of line 1, that's negative 1 over 2. Then it says the straight line L2 passes the points negative 1, negative 7, and 7, 9. So what we can do is we can find the slope of L2 using the points. So m2 is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 9, y1 is 7, x2 is negative 7, and x1 is negative 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6, which simplifies to negative 1 over 3. Now, as we know, if two lines are perpendicular, m1 times m2 should equal to negative 1. So let's see if we multiply m1, which is negative 1 over 2, times m2, which is negative 1 over 3. As you can see, this equals to 1 over 6, not negative 1, which means Michael is not correct, because the product of the gradients is not equal to negative 1. So unless the product doesn't equal to negative 1, we cannot prove that the lines are perpendicular. This question says that A is the point with coordinates negative 5, 12, B is the point with coordinates 19 and negative 48. Find an equation of the straight line that passes the points A and B. So in order to find the equation of the line, as we've discussed previously, we need the slope and the y-intercept. We can find the slope using the formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's negative 48 minus 12 over 19 minus negative 5. That's going to give us negative 60 divided by 24. Let's simplify this. That's negative 2.5. Now we have the slope, we have a point, we have A and we have B. In this one, I'm going to show you how to use the slope-intercept form to find the y-intercept and then create an equation. So we have y equals to negative 2.5x plus c. So you can substitute either point A or B in the equation in place of y and x to find c. If I use point A, y is 12 and x is negative 5 and plus c comes as it is. So 5 times 2.5 is going to give us 12.5. So 12 equals to 12.5 plus c. Subtract the 2. Negative 0.5 is c. So y equals to negative 2.5x minus 0.5. That is your equation. You can give the numbers as decimals or fractions. There is no restriction on that. So in the previous question, I told you how to use the point slope form to create an equation if you have a point and slope. In this one, I explained how to use slope-intercept form when you have a slope and they've given you 2 points. You can use point slope form as well. Either way, it's going to be correct. You just need to pick that method which is easier for you to understand and remember. Then this question says a straight line L passes through the points 4, negative 1, 6, 4. And then the straight line M is perpendicular to L and intersects the y-axis at the point 0, 8. We have to find the coordinates of the point where M intersects the x-axis. So same steps as we've done. First, let's create the equation. And for the equation, we need the slope first. So for L, 4 minus negative 1 over 6 minus 4. That's going to be 5 over 2. Now we create the, let's call this M1. Now, straight line M is perpendicular to L. So which means for M2, we do M1 times M2 equals to -1 because both lines are perpendicular. 5/2 times M2 equals to -1. So M2 is going to be -2/5. Since they're perpendicular, straight line M intersects the y-axis at the point 0, 8, which means for line M, y equals to -2/5x plus 8. This is the slope-intercept. This is the y-intercept, and this is our slope. So we put that in the slope-intercept form. M is -2/5 and c is 8. We have to find the coordinates of the point where M intersects the x-axis. So we put y equals to 0 because you're asking for the x-intercept. When it intersects the x-axis, that means y is 0. So 0 equals to -2/5x plus 8. 2/5x equals to 8. X is going to be 8 times 5/2, which equals to 20. So x is 20 and y is 0. That is the coordinate of the point where M intersects the x-axis. Then they can say that 2 points are given and we have to work out the gradient of AB in this case. Same thing as you've done. 8 minus -4 over 5 minus 9. That's 12 over -4, and that's equal to -3. Then the straight line L has the equation y equals to -4x plus 5. Write on the gradient of a straight line that is perpendicular to L. So first we identified the gradient of the line L. So that's going to be -4 because that's the number that's being multiplied to x. Now we know that M1 times M2 equals to -1 if two lines are perpendicular. So -4 times M2 equals to -1, and M2 is going to be -1 over -4, which simplifies to 1/4. So that's your answer. Then it says write down an equation of a line that is parallel to the line with the equation y equals to 7 minus 4x. So as we know, when two lines are parallel, the gradient is going to be the same. So you just write any equation as long as the gradient is the same. Gradient is -4, so -4, even y equals to -4x would work. Or y equals to -4x minus 1. Anything. This part has to be the same. The y-intercept can be anything. You can add something, subtract something, or don't even write anything. As long as the gradient is the same, your line is correct. Then the line L passes the points with the coordinates -3, 1 and 2, -2. Find an equation of the line that is perpendicular to L and passes through the point with coordinates -6 and 4. Give your answer in the form ax plus by plus c equals to 0, where a, b, and c are integers. So first, let's find the gradient of L. So m1 is going to be -2 minus 1 over 2 minus -3. That's -3 over 5. Now, since the two lines are perpendicular, that means m1 times m2 equals to -1. -3 over 5 times m2 equals to -1, which means m2 is going to be 5/3. Now, y equals to 5/3x plus c. They gave us a point through which the line passes, so we can substitute that into the equation and find the c value. So 4 equals to 5/3 times -6 plus c. That's 4 equals to -10 plus c. 4 plus 10 equals to c, and 14 is c. So that means it's going to be y equals to 5/3x plus 14. They want the equation in this format, so we multiply everything by 3 to get rid of the fraction. So 3y equals to 5x plus 42. Bring all of the terms on one side, so -5x plus 3y minus 42 equals to 0 is your final answer. Then it says the point A has coordinates 5, negative 4. Point B has coordinates 13, 1. Work out the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So as we have done previously, we add the x values, 5 plus 13 divided by 2. Then add the y values, negative 4 plus 1 divided by 2. 5 plus 13 is 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So negative 1.5. That's our midpoint. Then line L has the equation y equals to 2 minus 3x. Write down the gradient of line L. Gradient is going to be negative 3 because gradient is always the number that's being multiplied to x, given that y is the subject. Then line L has the equation y equals to 2 minus 3x. Does the point with coordinates 100 and negative 3 or 2 lie on line L? You must give a reason for your answer. So to check if the point lies on the line, we substitute the x value. So y equals to 2 minus 3 times 100. So that's 2 minus 300. And that's going to give us negative 298. Clearly, we can see that it doesn't give us negative 302, which is what the question was claiming. So does the point lie? No, it does not. And the reason is this, that it gives y equals to negative 298 instead of negative 302. And with that, we're done with the questions for straight lines. Once again, these were the easy level questions that you will come across. The harder questions are going to be more complicated and they're going to be like 5 to 6 markers. I'll be explaining those in a separate video in the coming days, so please stay tuned. Check out the other videos in the playlist because I have made videos for every topic that comes in the exam. Each topic uses exam questions and explains in detail how to solve questions. Because if you will watch the videos, you will realize how the paper pattern is very similar for each type of topic that you get. If you're someone who understood everything, please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. And if there's still any confusion about anything, leave a comment below and I'll try to help you out.